So it's been 70 days since I last opened up Paralives, and I'm not joking. It felt like I was missing something that I did not know I had. So it felt good to come back into this game, reopen it, build something, and have a little bit of fun. And so today I'm building a nice little townhouse in Melano to hopefully feel rejuvenated again. And I'm going to explain everything of my thought process to hopefully where it makes sense. So if you remember a couple months ago, I did a Paralives, like create a para video of making two separate paras. One was a teenager and one was like a young adult. And the young adult was taking care of this teenager to help them navigate life. And personally, I thought to myself, this was going to be like my current household. I was going to fall in love with it. And then, the course ran dry where I didn't feel as inspired enough to tap into gameplay. And building is something that I love to do in any game, whether it's like Paralives, Sims, Minecraft, whatever it is. As long as I have a chance to be creative, I'm going to do it. And so with this one, I was very inspired by like the smallest lot in Paralives because it's tied between two different buildings. One's like a pharmacy and the other one's like a weird different like historical building. But what's so unique about it, it's tucked away in a little corner and it reminded me of the movie Up. If you remember that movie, Carl had his like nice little shack of a home with his wife Ellie, and then eventually over the years, buildings and skyscrapers kind of built around his house, and then the construction workers wanted to take his house and tear it down so they can build more modern buildings. And I'm like, I kind of want to do that in Paralives with this specific build because it's an oldie but a goodie. There's a lot of historical features to it, and it's made for two different pairs that could live here or more, and it's very awkwardly shaped because this area is so weird to build on. And of course, the last time I played Paralives was like 2 months ago, and I was building in this game 2 months ago for this specific lot. And I remember to myself that it was so hard to roof and so hard to do like literally anything because I was still new to building. And I don't really build a lot in this game because it's so advanced. And it reminds me of like The Sims 3 and how the complex that building system was, but attaching it with a lot of different other building mechanics that we have seen in other types of video games. So I'm learning as I go, and I built this all on stream. And if you were there 2 months ago, you know what I'm talking about. But I will say I love Paralives for what it has to offer so far. And at the time of me recording this whole video, the face cam and this, I've learned a lot of how to do roofing better, especially how to build on awkward angles because it's not technically a legit square. It's more like a diagonal square rectangle of a home. So it's kind of awkwardly shaped, but I kind of like how awkward it is and how much freedom we have for the walls. Because when Paralives came out or like announced, like saying, oh, it's coming out this date, I was getting so excited because I've been following the development since like 2019. It's been a very long time. And so looking at all the progress that they've made since then to now has been so incredibly like refreshing to see what is possible for a life simulation game, especially this early on. And of course, they have a lot more stuff to do of bug fixing, optimization for like pro game performance, and of course adding in like new features over time. I honestly, and what I'm looking most forward to is seeing them incorporate like a lot of different types of gameplay styles, like family gameplay, seasons, what like pets add into the game, more functionality with the small appliances that our pairs can like probably use, and especially just seeing what is to come for like gardening, pools, basements, all those things like that, and also how it can be a little bit more easier to build. And I don't really think there's an actual guide out there, at least to my knowledge, I don't think it is, on how to build in Paralives because everyone's still figuring out as they, go and play this game, as I am too. It's more so like a building simulator for me right now, where I'm just tapping into my creative side and figuring things out as I like build and like learn how to do the game mechanics and stretching all the objects. Like when we were able to stretch the objects, I was like, oh my gosh. I felt like a kid in the candy store because I'm thinking to myself, there's no way we have this much freedom. In a way, I felt excited and nervous. Like, I love it and I hate it. Like, I hate it in a good way because knowing me as a person who has ADHD, a Pisces, so unpredictable. You never know what I'm going to say, do, or like do what, anything. But Paralives, when I have too much control, it's like there's no stopping me, and I'll spend hours and hours and hours on it. So I kind of went into this whole build not knowing what to build, and I was just building freehand and thinking, oh, this looks nice. I'm gonna add this, I'm gonna add that, and then hope for the best it looks good. So it's kind of replicating off of like my sim style and trying to put that into Paralives, which is easy to accomplish in some degree, but you gotta fix things and change them around as you do. But this is a 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom house, townhouse in Melano. And it's like tucked between the pharmacy and like that other building next to it. So you know exactly where it's at. And I do have this on the Steam Workshop if you want to download it for yourself. My Steam name is just SpringSims, as it is usually on every other platform, to make it a little bit more easier. I don't have that many things on there. I have a few pairs that I've made, and I think I have one house, but the one is unfurnished and one's fully furnished. So you have two of the same house, but different versions. And I have another one that I'm doing that you haven't seen yet, but if you were in my stream yesterday, you know what I built. And I'm kind of excited to do more building. I want to build an apartment of some type, or like a farmhouse or a mansion, because I do want to like push the limits of this game to see what can be done, and also what kind I can learn from it too. And it can only get better with time as I continue to try new things. And it makes me want to even tap into more creative, like building type games. Like I want to do small spaces. I want to try out Hosey. I want to do more stuff in Minecraft. I want to do stuff more in Sims. Like there's just so much I want to do, but I don't have all the time in the world. And also, I'm one person. I don't got much. I don't got much time in my life, but I'm gonna make best of it as much as possible and have fun while doing it. But I think with this build, what I really appreciated most about is how much stuff I could add to my surfaces. Because technically, right now, with Paralives in the very basic infancy of it right now, there's not a lot of like functional appliances. At least they've added a few things since me recording this video, but they have made a lot of major improvements of like functionality and like group meals. And of course, your pairs can now drink coffee. So it's gotten a lot better, but I will say it is nice to have all these clutter items. Like, you know me, I love clutter more than anything. So the more clutter that I have, the better. Plus, it does make the builds feel a little bit more well lived in, and it looks like someone actually lives there rather than it's just like a stage home. Unless you're going for that look, it makes sense. But I think for a general storyline, you want to make it a little bit more lived in, add some clutter here and there in the kitchen or the bedroom or the bathroom or whatever it might be. It definitely makes it feel a little bit more alive, especially if you're kind of like brand new to something. And that's how I usually approach a lot of things nowadays, is like if I'm going to build or if I'm going to play this, I want to be able to make it well lived in as much as possible. So what I tend to do is add so much of the same objects, but in different sizes. And I loved the trailer for Paralives. I loved it. I loved all the little teasers of Pair Maker and all the other pairs that they've had and all the other parafolk families. They're all just so cool. Even the storytellers make them very like interesting, whether you want to have a nice, simple, easy, balanced gameplay, or very scandalous and like robust kind of gameplay, or just, easy. So there's 3 different like quote unquote modes that you can kind of play through with Paralives. I haven't fully played through the whole game. I've dabbled into it here and there, and I think I want to get back into it again because they've made some improvements since then. Now, soon enough in the next update, they're going to make where babies don't have very weird edges or like on their face or on their body. And I think they also are going to incorporate some UI changes to Pair Maker, which will be really cool. So if you want to have like 3 columns or 4 columns, you can have that. So eventually, when the update comes out, we'll have that. And I think it was either in this update or the previous update, I don't know, but I heard that you no longer will have babies on the sidewalk. It was kind of a funny thing because I had my first pair baby and like, okay, where's my child going to be born? They literally went outside and gave birth on the sidewalk. So that will hopefully no longer be a thing, and your bears will have babies inside of their house. However, I think there's a few like weird issues where if you have twins or triplets, that still might occur, but we don't know. But I am excited because when I was playing Paralives for the very first time, I've been re-uploading my streams and I was looking back at them, and it dawned to me because I had a sibling household. I had an older brother and like a younger sister. The sister was like a child at the time, and then the of course the brother was a full-fledged young adult. The young adult was like, trying to figure out what they were going to do. They had parents who that lived in the city, and then they eventually had to move because of like weird circumstances that had to basically uproot their entire life to start a new life in Melano. And so the two lovely siblings, the child and the young adult, they were navigating how to figure out what they wanted to do with their lives, how they were going to earn money. So the brother got a job at the local school, and then eventually the younger child eventually got older, which I did not remember because I made the heights different. And I was always so curious, will the younger sibling be taller than her brother? And I always love taking progress photos. I love it, love it, love it. Whenever a pair is pregnant or they're getting taller or whatever it might be, it's just so cool to see like the gradual growth of the height of pairs. And it's so funny because my para, like my child pair, was had the good at everything, the jack of all trades trait perk thing. And it's funny because when they became a teenager, they had a better job than their brother. They were making, I think, I don't know, like something like obscurely high of like paradigms per day or per hour or whatever. And it was funny because their brother was making way less at the school, and the teenager at the time was very well skilled in like everything, piano, programming, like they were just good at everything. And so they were trying to become some type of musician growing up. So they worked at this like local like music studio in Melano, and it was so unique on how much money they were making. So I want to get back into that, but I also probably will have to move them to a whole like fresh, easy, simple save because the two saves that I have are kind of jacked up, broken. But I might just like recreate them or make some new paras because I want to get back into making paras again. They're kind of fun and therapeutic to like kind of do. Plus, I think I want to start a current household for myself that I play gradually as the game updates and they add more things. But I might wait until they do the next update. So then, if I were to have a para baby, they would look a lot more simpler around their face. So that's what I'm probably gonna do. I might make this household my current household of Paralives because I was gonna turn into a let's play, and then I'm like, no, let's not rush it. Let's not make it too over the top and crazy. It was a way for me to navigate Paralives as they add more stuff, and I think I don't want to fully commit to a whole let's play until like I'm fully ready with Paralives and I feel ready enough to like play more of it. So I'm gonna play it whenever I have the time and when I have the energy and when I feel like it, to then eventually update you all on YouTube when I have something to share, which I probably will have a lot more to share when I continue to play. And I've also downloaded a lot of custom content on Steam, on the Steam Workshop for Paralives. It's kind of unhealthy, kind of unhealthy. But you know what? I don't care. I don't care if it's unhealthy. It's my computer. If it screams at me 10,000 times a minute, it's just saying that, hey, we're here. We're here, we're thriving, we're living, but you gotta stop. Do I do that? No. I'll keep adding more. Eventually it'll explode. But at this point I'm really happy of what I've incorporated into my game for like custom content. I might delete all of it because there's been so many updates and I haven't played in like 2 months. So I think if I uninstall all the mods that I have and like just start fresh, I feel a little bit more less stressed out of trying to figure out what is this, what is that, how do I make that better. So I'm really hoping in the future when they are done with their quote unquote bug fixing, bug optimization phase of Paralives, they'll get into the idea of like adding more like cosmetics and game features and Also, like tapping into the existing features that they already have to upgrade them, especially with the small appliances. Like, I would love to ride my bike. I would love to go and do gardening because I built like this small little cottage build near the beach area in Milano. It's living right next door to like this elderly couple that are married and they're so stinking cute and adorable. And I built that on stream yesterday, and I had a lot of fun doing that because it was something that I am like predicting for the future of Paralives, that I want to do gardening, I want to go to the beach and have fun. Like, imagine if we can go surfing. Like, I would love to go surfing in Paralives, in the ocean, swim, have fun. And it's definitely like at this point where I'm like, okay, can I do more of this? Can I have more of that in the future? But it does make me curious of how they're going to do weather, how they're going to do like, summer, spring, winter, and fall, specifically winter and fall, because the leaves are changing, and of course, snow. Will there be depth? Will there not be depth? I need to know. Can we make snow angels? Can we make igloos? Can we do like snow pails? Like, can we do what can we do? I'm curious, especially with pets of, can they have jobs? I've said this a lot in The Sims 2 in my video the other day, how pets in The Sims 2 can have jobs. They have to earn their keep in the household. So I'm like, if you tear up my couch, you're gonna have to get a new one, okay? So I'm always thinking about the possibilities of what can and cannot be done. But if you have any ideas of what you would like to see in Paralives, let me know in the comments below if you got to this point of the video, and I thank you if you did, because I don't know what I said in the past 17 minutes of this video. All I know, it was pure nonsense. It's 11 p.m. and honestly, it's kind of good to do that. A little delusional hour with Steven, and it feels good. But what I'm gonna do is go into the game and show you all the build in real time, so that way you can kind of get a gist of like where we are at in Milano and also what the build looks like in its current state. For this being my second house ever being built in Paralives, I'm actually pretty proud on how it turned out. I've learned a lot of things about roofing, layouts, clutter items, what to add, what not to add for like functionality and realism. But for the fact that this house is in the center of town is a perfect spot for my current household. I have two paras, Lane and Trish. Trish is a teen, Lane is a young adult, and I personally am excited because the high school's right here. We have the library right here, the museum, and then like this donation community area over here. And we're also just in the center of town for like any events that might be happening. Plus, we just live near everything, which is nice for walkability and probably like finding like new people to hang out with and be friends with. But this house is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in Milano, which is a town name. And it is kind of funky shaped because I didn't know how to lay out my walls properly. And I think eventually down the line, when we get more features added to the game for gameplay in the next several years of its early access, I want to upgrade the house to be a little bit better for functional objects, especially gardening and pets and like more things down the line, but that'll come later. But I went with a very simplistic layout that made sense to me. And with Paralives, their routing is very like easy. Like, they are able to get around a lot of things, especially in tight knit spaces. So it works very well. But we have the entryway here, and I added in so much stuff. I took a little photo of them recently just so they have a little family portrait on the wall, and it's so stinking cute. Like, I love them. I love that we can pose paras in like a photo mode, and it just works so well. But in their entryway, they have like their bookcase, a little guitar. We also have like some other portraits on the wall. I would love to one day for this broom and dustpan to be functional so we can like start sweeping and vacuuming, but I added this for like general decor. We have a little coat rack, a little like rack here for all of our little knickknacks and patty wax here. I even added in like a yoga mat, since technically on the 3rd floor, we do have our yoga mats to do some exercise or some push-ups. We just have that for some nice general scenery. Since there technically is no roof up here, we get fresh air pretty much every single day, and there's also no weather. So we're not really affected by like the rain or like the snow or whatever. So it works in its favor. But as we move over here, I was trying to decide if I wanted to make it a full-fledged kitchen dining room situation because it wasn't a small space, but knowing there's only 2 pairs living here, I made like a small little breakfast nook over here. I added in Trish's phone and headphones because they love listening to music during the day. And there's a small little kitchen over here that I kind of went a little bit crazy with the clutter, but it worked very well. So I have everything everywhere. I mean, I got the microwave, I got the stove, I've got the sink, I got the fridge, but they have so much stuff everywhere that I actually feel like someone does live here, which they do, but it just works for like the realism. I love like the nitty gritty clutter items that we have. I mean, we have like eggs in a basket over here. We have like a mug, we have like flour. We even have like some other like tumblers and spices and jams, napkins, salt and pepper shakers, measuring cups, water bottles, pots and pans, knives. Like, it's so great to have all this clutter. I also had no room for an office, so I added in their small little desk area in their kitchen dining room area, which I know is technically common in a lot of houses that people have like a family computer. So this is a family computer, but more so it's Trish's computer that they use for like homework, hanging out with friends online for video games, but also just to browse the internet every once in a while. This technically is, I think I made this Trish's room because there is like a music stand over here, a little guitar. They have their own computer in here as well because they love being in their house, studying, learning things, trying out new stuff, programming. So they have their own little area here. I like their bedroom because it's just so quaint. Plus their bed is like tucked away in a corner, so it works very well for them. And then they have like their bathroom, which I did go a little bit above and beyond with it because normally bathrooms are not my strongest suit, but I added in all of the clutter I could think of on this little ladder stand shelf thing. I have like the inhaler, bandages, pads, tampons, medical things, like everything on this is like so cool. I grew up having an inhaler, so having that here may not mean much, but to me, that's cool. And I'm like, I like it, but I wouldn't want my parent to have asthma. That's too realistic for me. As we go upstairs, this is just more of a general like hallway of like coming here to sit. This was gonna be turned into a living room, but maybe eventually down the line, I will change some stuff, remove this couch for like a small little armchair or two, and then put the TV on the wall. However, there is an archway here that leads to the rooftop of the house, but I think it could still work if I add a TV in here at some point. But over here, we do have Lainey's bedroom. Lainey is very good at being alone, so they don't really need much or require much. They're very content with what they have, but they do have a little easel and their telescope outside, so that way they can enjoy the scenery. And what I've noticed too, with this house being where it's at and everything, it is kind of hard to see some stuff. So I might eventually move things around every so often, but I do like the general space for what it is. But on the third floor, we do have our yoga mats, our weightlifting, our grill, and some tables. I was kind of stuck on what to technically put in this house because I'm still very new to the game, and the game is also still in its infancy, and they're still adding more things over time. So I was kind of like playing it safe, but I think for what I have right now, I'm pretty pleased that I know I'm going to eventually upgrade it and add more things over time, especially when Trish becomes like a young adult and Lainey becomes an actual adult, making more friends, experiencing more lives, and eventually like having kids, adopting kids, getting married, moving in, things like that. I want to evolve it to make it better. So hopefully we'll see some more things for Paralives in the next couple of years, because right now they're in this period of bug fixing and game optimization that eventually in the next 2 years of early access that they say in their roadmap, they're going to include more gameplay and more functionality things to the game. So we all just need patience is what we need for this game. I believe in Paralives. I believe in the development of this game, and I'm excited to see what they have to offer next. But either way, my friends, I'm going to end the video off here for today. I do hope you all really enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts and opinions down below of what do you think of Paralives right now. Have you played it, not played it? Are you waiting for more updates? Give me all of your ideas, all of your suggestions and comments down below. But as always, if you want to download this house, it's on the Steam Workshop. I'll put a link down below in the description and all that fun jazz. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all next time in the next video. Bye!